Hello and welcome back to Code Invasion. In this series, we learn how to build this beautiful website using React. This series is good for anyone who is trying to transition from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This series will help you learn React, and the way we are going to approach it is that we'll be building it section by section and we'll separate that into different videos so you can readily comprehend the information. So, in this particular video, we'll build this navbar here, the hero section, as well as the services section. So without much ado, let's get into the code. To get started, let's create our project folder on our desktop, which we would call supplement website. Now inside VS Code, on the menu bar, let's click on file and let's choose open folder. We'll then navigate to our desktop and we'll click on our supplement website. Let's open up the folder and we can now create our React app in this folder. To start creating our React app, let's go to terminal on the menu and let's click on new terminal. In the terminal, let's run the command npm create vite at latest and run the command. Once the command runs, it will ask you for the project name. Now, we want the project name to be the same as the name we have in our project folder, so we'll just provide a full stop there and we'll hit enter. When it asks us for the package name, we'll accept supplement website as the package name. From the options provided, we'll choose React, and we are going to be using React with JavaScript. Now we will see that Vite would automatically generate some files and folders for us in our folder. The next thing is to go back to the terminal and run the command npm install. Once we do this, it is going to install all the packages we need to successfully run this React basic website created over here. Once all our packages are done installing, we'll run the command npm run dev in the terminal, and this is going to open up our React website in the browser. In order to view the website, you simply have to copy this link and paste it in your browser. Once we open up our browser and paste the link right there and hit enter, we'll see our basic React app. Back in VS Code, in our index.css file, we are going to remove all the default styling because we will not be needing them. So simply clear that. Also in the app.css file, we remove all the default styling. In our app.jsx file, we are not going to be needing it, so we remove everything inside, and this is where we start building our own React app. Let's recreate our app component with a shortcut RFC. Now I'm able to do this because in my VS Code, in the extensions tab, I have the extension ES7 React Redux. This particular extension installed, so you can also install it so that it will make components easy for you to create and a whole lot of other things very easy. In our app.js file, I create a basic component and will render an h1 here, which will say our website. Boom, so we have it on our screen. Now when we take a look at our website, we can see that most part of our website has this dark color. We don't need to set this color for every individual section we are going to be building in the future, so we'll use it as a global styling, right? Also, we can see that most of the text is actually white, right? And so we would also set that as a global styling. We'll head back to VS Code, and inside our index.css file, we are going to be giving some universal styling. First of all, we want to set every default margin to 0. Also, we set the padding to 0 and the box sizing property to border box. For our body, we will give it that dark color. So we are going to give it a background color, and the value for the color is 121313, just like that. And for our text, let's give it the color FFF. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and start building our navbar. To start building our navbar, we'll create a component folder in our SRC. And inside our component folder, we'll create another folder to hold our navbar component. Once we have created our navbar.gsx file, we can use the shortcut RFC to create our component. This shortcut is only possible if you have this particular extensions in VS Code. So you can quickly search them here and you will find it. So for our navbar, we can see that we have a logo here and a simple navigation over here. And that's what we are going to implement. So back in VS Code and for our navbar, we are simply going to have our a header tag, and inside that header, we'll have an H1 for the logo, and we'll pass in the text SAPO. Good. For the navigation, we are going to keep this in a nav tag, and inside that nav, an unordered list with 6 list items. And now the reason why we can't see our navbar is because we have not yet imported it into our app.gsx file. So to do that, we'll simply call our navbar component like this, and boom, we'll have it right there. We'll have no need of this H1 anymore, so we can take that out. Now what's left is for us to style our navbar component. We are going to be using CSS modules to style this particular project. So we'll have the file as navbar.module.css. So in our navbar module.css, we'll have our header, and we are going to set it to display flex. We'll also give it a justify content space between, so that it can separate that logo and the nav here. Let's go back into our nav.gss file, and in order to be able to use our CSS module classes or styles which we define in our CSS module, we have to import styles from that particular file. So this is how we are going to import our styles. Good. So we see that our style is now applied. Now the next thing we do in our nav.module.css is to align the items in our header to the center. Now let's go ahead and style this navigation right here. And to do that, we will have to style the UL tag, this UL tag in the nav tag over here. So back in our navbar.modules file, we'll simply call nav and the UL in it. We are going to simply have display set to flex, right? And we'll also have align items center and justify content space between. So we have our list style to be none. Now let's also put some spaces in between our items, right? So we'll define a gap, and we want our gap to be 1 rem. Now when we take a look at our navbar in our project, we have to simply change the fonts over here, and we'll set the color of this full stop right here. Now, in order to find the font, we'll simply go to Google Fonts, and the font we are using in this particular project is sign. So in the search bar here, type the name of the font. Then you click on get font and we use the get embed code. In order to make the font available to the entire part of our website, we'll be using the link option in our index.html file. Back in VS Code, we'll go to our index.html file. Right above our title, we would paste those links right there. Good. This way, our fonts are available to every part of our website. Because we are using the CSS models, if we were to use the @import rule, it will be scoped to only the navbar component. However, we are going to be using this font throughout our website. So one of the best ways is to import it right here in our HTML file. The second font we'll be using is Montserrat. So back in Google Fonts, we are going to search for Montserrat right here. That's it. We'll click on it and we'll click on Get Font. We'll also click on Get Embed Code. And we are also going to be using this one throughout our project. So what we will do is we'll use the link option as well. Back in VS Code, we'll paste those links right underneath the previous ones. Now, to use our fonts in our navbar, we simply have to set our H1 font family to sign and our nav links font family to Montserrat. Good. Now we can see it applied there. Let's make our font size for the links to be 16 pixels, right? Now we need a little bit of padding on top of our header here because it's too tight to the top of our website. So in our header styles, we would simply provide a padding of 1 rem for the top and bottom and 0 for the left and right. And that should space it out well. And finally, for the span in our H1, we are going to set the color to 3F C3D7. So let's do that. Very well. And anytime we hover on our list item, we want the color to also have the same thing. So in order to do that, we'll simply bring a comma here and we'll do nav ULLI on hover. We want the color to be that particular color. And now when we hover on it, we see that the color changes. However, the cursor is not the appropriate cursor. So in our nav ULLI styles, let's set the cursor to pointer, which will change it to the pointer cursor anytime we hover over it. So you can see that there's a difference anytime we are hovering over it, the cursor changes. All right, we also need to do the same thing for our logo, right? So in our H1, let's simply set the cursor as well to pointer. And there we have it. We have successfully built our navbar. In the next video, we'll be building this hero section, and remember to subscribe for more valuable content.